Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new live Cosmic Human Design podcast. If you haven't seen us before, this is some magical stuff here. We have Richard with us, who's a Yale graduate, and he took human design, which has been around a very long time, and has helped a lot of people out in the world. And he took it, and he said, wait a minute, there's a problem here. And he adjusted it. Get all the math right, and we got the signs in the right spots and the designs in the right spots. So now when you go into your chart, you may have something a little different from what you get in human design. So this seems to be working really well. Everybody's in harmony with it, and we're having a lot of success with this this show and this new Cosmic Human Design. It's been great. This is something that can really, honestly change the world. And JARIN, you talk about human design all the time on how impactful this can be. It's the future internet of human beings, or if you want to call it the internet of now of human beings. What do you think, JARIN?
Yeah, absolutely. It is the internet of human beings. It is how we're connected. And we get a map. We get to take a look at a map of how we fit together, and also let's call it a manual for our own bodies and how our bodies are designed to function. So it's giving you an individual and a collective understanding of how to materialize reality and how to transform oneself. But the gift is now we actually have the math and the natural world correct, where the planets actually are and what actually made us at the time of our birth, as opposed to a false made up whatever you want to call it, grid system that for some reason 80% of the world still wants to follow. What's that, Richard?
Matrix.
Yeah,
you're looking for.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Richard, with clients that are coming to you and you've designed the system. It's been in operation for quite a while now. How do you think? What is your confidence level in this? Is this the real thing here we got, Richard?
Man, Greg, let me tell you, man, my my confidence just keeps increasing. It really does. I get new readings all the time, and it's like when you're at the point where could my confidence be any higher in this? Yes, because a new person will tell me how, say, thank you, this really changed my life. They'll email me after a reading and, say things like, this is some extremely deep cosmic knowledge that we're imparting here that is being imparted with this chart. Not everyone in the human design community has accepted it, but I think that's something that everyone will do eventually once they get past their ego. That's the whole thing about the ego and the oracle of the cosmic way, and what we've been talking about here on this show is the ego is this false self which pretends to be your true self, and so it messes up your life direction, your thoughts, and causes you to see everything negatively and in an untrue light. And so you can't even perceive the truth in that state, in that condition, and so, I view cosmic human design as a way to open up your true self. And, this is the biggest problem in the world today, Greg. I mean, the biggest problem in the world. It's not like money or, politics or any of this other stuff. It's about, do you know who you are? Are you living your true self? Because if you're not, then, everything is going to be out of place in your life. Everything.
It's gotta be warped.
Everything, even your day-to-day thoughts, your day-to-day opinions, and then nothing's can ever get started when you're in that state, which is actually the state that the majority of people in the world are in on a day-to-day basis, but they don't realize it. See, that's the thing. people don't realize that there is this thing, this ego, that is totally blocking everything in their life. So I hope that this, I think that's a reason why Cosmic Human Design has had such huge success so far, is because people are just begging, they're dying for some guidance, some true guidance in their life.
Yeah, for sure. I do a lot of personal training and personal coaching, mentoring. And when I mention Cosmic Human Design and wanting to find out who they are, and I explain it to them, they're like, oh my God, like they really like go, I can know that. I can, know this about myself. I can have a little bit of an instruction manual here. I can know what my strengths are and why I do the things I do, because that was one of the biggest things, finding out I was a projector, and a splenic one at that, is that the things that I would do that I would be disappointed in myself with and say, why can't I? Why can't I? And I keep trying and trying. And then I realize that, JARIN comes along and says, hey, dum-dum, you're a projector. You can't do that very well. It's not part of your design. And I say, oh. And then now, instead of dancing around these problems and keep on trying and banging my head against the wall, now I go different routes and say, oh, okay, now it makes sense. This is where the water goes around the rock, right? I'm not going to keep banging into the same damn rock and trying to make it move when I can go around it. So very interesting when you find out who you truly are, how well things can start working for you. And you can start taking some big, giant steps forward instead of always dancing back and forth and not getting very far. So good stuff there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a live chat board. So if you are watching right now, you can write us. The best place is to go to YouTube. I know you're watching on Facebook or here and there. Some of the Facebook pages aren't connected necessarily to our chat board. So best place to chat in is on YouTube. So the links are there for you wherever you're watching. Just go down below and click on the YouTube link and get over to YouTube, subscribe to us, and then hit the bell so you're notified whenever we're live, and then or whenever Richard throws up something new. And then you can write us in and give us nice compliments, or write us questions. We get all kinds of great things every week. You guys are great out there, so we really enjoy all the comments and everything. So. All right, very good. We do a daily every time we're on the air here. We like to talk about what's going on for the next week or whatever in this place we're in. So Richard's great at leading these and talking about the sun, the earth, all the different planets, where they are and what they're doing to us. A lot of interesting stuff here. So Richard, would you like to lead us in the daily today?
Sure, Greg. And yeah, this daily, it can be a great tool for you to look at these transits. The transits meaning the locations of the planets, where they are in terms of the sky, in terms of the zodiac, and in terms of the hexagram wheel. We've got that human design mandala where the zodiac connects to the hexagrams. That's what human design is, connecting astrology with the I Ching, with the cosmic principles of harmony, and seeing which of those principles are active and in what mode. Because different planets, and this is the thing, everything is consciousness, has consciousness to it. So the planets indeed have consciousness as well. And we know that this is how human design works, is that neutrinos pass through planets. Neutrinos from light, from stars, pass through planets, get an imprint of the planet, and then pass through us and impart that imprinting of the planet, depending on what gate it's in, to us. And this is kind of like a neutrino weather. It's where the entire population is going to be experiencing these same influences, these same forces on any given day. And today, let's see here. We have the sun. The sun is the most important planet generally that you want to be looking at because it has the strongest effect in terms of those neutrinos. The sun is in the 63rd gate, 63rd. So immediately we see here, we've got the 63 and the 64, which are, kind of the capstone to the I Ching. They're the last two hexagrams in the I Ching, 63 and 64. And really, this is kind of a unique thing here. The entire I Ching can be reduced down to 4 hexagrams. The first, the second, the 63, and the 64. Mathematically, if you replace all the lines of all the hexagrams with a certain formula, they all reduce down mathematically to one of those 4 hexagrams. So that's very interesting. So the 63 and 64, they have equal importance to the 1 and the 2 at the beginning. And the 63rd hexagram is called after completion, after completion. And its theme is really about, how does success endure after completion, after you've achieved something, or after, the completion of something? What makes it last? What makes success or an achievement really stand the test of time and endure, which is an important cosmic principle for us, because if things couldn't endure after they were completed, then, we would have chaos, a lot of chaos going on. So let me just say that in the gene keys, we've got the shadow of doubt, and the city of truth, the gift of inquiry. So this hexagram, it's all about truth. It's all about, in a way, logic. This logical process of inquiry, of getting to the truth in a methodical way. And doubt, the shadow of doubt, is that's the shadow. The doubt and truth, they kind of go together there. So inquiry, if you take the two things I said, inquiry, truth is how success endures. If it's true, if it's really truly in harmony with the cosmos, then it's going to endure. Versus if it's false, if it's not really supposed to be there, then eventually it's going to fall away. And so this tells us that today is a big day, a big week, since the hexagram's in planets in the hexagram for a week. So all this week we've got the city of truth that we're working with here, which if you know what kind of events are going on in the world today, that's an optimistic sign. Maybe we'll finally be getting some truth out there for people to see.
Yeah, for sure. Floodgates. let the floodgates open.
Yeah. We were just talking about that, actually. That's funny.
Yeah, I was going to say when you're talking here, Richard, it's making me think of the collective systems that are not built on truth, and the fact that they've been able to sustain themselves for a certain amount of time, but it's not sustainable forever. And I think that the dominoes are being brought to the surface and forefront now of what is illusion and what is real. And I think what is real is rising to the top. And I think we're starting to see this, not just wait for it like many of us have been, but actually seeing it in the public eye much, much, much more. So the truth is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'd also say, as this truth comes out and more of a harmonic society is going to be coming our way, this cosmic human design is going to become ultra important at that point, because of the idea of living in a more truthful, authentic, true self way. Right now, it's a lot of fakery. I put a Twitter post out earlier this week about fake, right? How fake everything feels right now, and just my living every day right now over the last month or two, I've felt like it's like going through a fake routine of a game. It's playing with money systems. It's just a fake made up system. And watching sports is a distraction. Watching movies is a distraction. It's all this like big distractions. Going to work. It's all these big distractions all the time. And it just feels like that's not really living. That is a game that we're being put into to go through the motions. And now it feels more and more and more, just more motions. It's just motions. It's not actually living life. And it feels like there's such a place right now we are where it's about to break loose and you're about to really feel like what living is like, what real living, authentic living is like. And it feels like that is about coming around the bend, right? And so as we move into this reveal, right, this big society reveal, a lot of us behind the scenes understand what's going on. We know a lot of it, right? We don't know all of it. We know a lot of it. But the general public, they don't know a lot. And they know bits and little pieces, and they don't know what to believe. And they're hearing one thing, and they're getting pulled another. And they're getting pulled that direction, they're getting pulled this direction. So there's a lot of that going on. So once all this is revealed, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be very confused and not know where to go because they've never really touched their true self before. As you said, Richard, a lot of people don't even understand what that even means. What does it mean to be myself? Like actually have a conversation with yourself in a quiet moment. Like, what does that mean? So pretty interesting out there. So good daily today. Very interesting.
Yeah, Greg, because most people in their everyday lives are living out these programs, and who's behind the curtain when a program is running? Nobody. There's nobody home. And that's the state of most people today. Like Jarin likes to say sometimes, it's kind of like they're AIs. They're AIs. If they let the programming run their life, that's what happens versus what you actually want to be doing with your life, which requires listening to your feelings, listening to your inner truth, your true self, versus what everyone else is telling you to do. And also I will say here on the earth side, we've got the 64. First of all, just let me say, if we take the 4 cities of the 1, 2, 63, and 64, that gives us an idea of what the whole cosmos is about. And those cities are beauty, unity, truth, and illumination.
Wow.
So those, that is very powerful right there. So the 64 is illumination. It goes from confusion to imagination to illumination. So this is the last hexagram. It's also called before completion of the I Ching, and it's giving us a clue as to what life is really all about. And that's using our imaginations, using imagination. That literally means to make an image, imagination. So this is giving you a clue, saying that how your life turns out has a great deal to do with how you imagine it will turn out. Like Michael Jordan, he always used to say he used to visualize hitting the game-winning shot, in basketball games, and, visualize all of that stuff. So, visualization is a huge component to success, I would say. Positive imaging.
For sure, Richard. That's been studied very well too. That visualization. They have studies out there where they will take 3 groups of people, and they'll take, for free throw shots of basketball, and they'll take one group who practices every day of the month. They'll take one group who visualizes every day of the month, and they'll take one group who doesn't do anything at all. And they'll bring them back in the gym, and the group that shot for every day in the gym and the group who visualized every day almost equal for skill level. That is pretty freaking amazing that you don't even have to be there physically. All you have to do is picture it in your mind, and you can get better at something almost to the equivalent of somebody physically doing it on a daily basis. Jarin, you teach a lot about manifestation and all that. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first step is we have to be able to realize we're not the mind or the body or the forms we see in front of us. And we have to come from the source of our true selves, which is that, the being behind, through inquiry, right? It goes along with it, to inquire, to be able to imagine, actually to, tune into who you are truly inside. And then from that place, imagine, what you truly wish to experience, and imagine being who you truly wish to be. And then besides imagining it and having time that you put into it, I think behind that is, am I believing in this imagination? Have I given it enough energy? And that's what, sorry for the sound. That's what we need to do, is spend more time imagining based on who we really are and what we really want to experience, realize that that's how life comes to be. And am I believing in myself? Am I believing in my imagination? Am I giving it enough energy, or am I off in that word distraction that we talked about earlier, or the programs that we talked about earlier? Because if you're not running consciously, you're just running on a program. Most people don't even realize that they're on a program. Most of us that are conscious don't even recognize the programs that are running when they're happening either. So you have to take a pause, look inside of yourself, detach from everything else, inquire of what is true to you, and then project that truth through your mind's eye into reality and feel it. And you can make reality be who you really are and what you really want to experience. I love these two, 63 and 64 are classic.
Yeah, and speaking of conscious, today we have the cross of consciousness. If we read the incarnation cross there, it says, people looking beyond needs to why we are here, by questioning / testing the patterns and flowing with life, they rise above the desire for more experience. So, yeah, Jarin, that's exactly what we were just talking about. Questioning, testing the patterns, the programs, rising above the desire for more experience, which is quickly a thing that can enslave you, the desire for more experience, more sensations, which is what the modern mass media and, I guess commercial interests, that's what they put out, and stimulating our senses, stimulating our desire for sensation, for experience, versus consciously thinking about something we'd like to do, getting us hooked on something, something that just produces a brief dopamine rush. All kinds of people get messed up by that kind of stuff. It's a huge problem. But today, at least, is perhaps a time when you can have this extra energy. Notice at the top there, I noticed the head center, it had all three gates, which the 63, the 64, and the 61 as well. So this is a huge day for inspiration, being inspired, which feels like a pressure. The head center, it's a pressure center. So yes. This is pressure to rise above, to experience, to get in the flow with higher consciousness, with real consciousness versus artificial consciousness.
Yeah, that's great stuff right there. When you talk about the desire for the sensation, right, and how we've been programmed for that instant gratification, and we used to have a lot of patience, and we used to have a lot of this ability to retain concentration for a period of time, reading books, whatever we're doing, talking with people without having to look at our phone, right?
Yep.
And all of these things, think about how many times you're having a conversation with a friend and you're looking at your phone or checking your phone or pushing the button to see if anybody messaged you. You're so broken from what you used to be, or as our parents used to be. With that instant gratification is always there, and it's always asking for that dopamine hit, as you said, Jared, or Richard. We are fixated on all of these quick hitting things, right? Whether it's the internet for news, or for social media, or for porn, or we're going to, out socially and looking for alcohol to, bring down our inhibitions so we can talk, more freely, because we're, stuck behind a phone or a computer and we don't know how to have good conversations anymore. All kinds of things out there that we have these instant gratification dopamine hits for, and especially the dings and beeps on our phone, at all times. And like, ooh, who wrote me now? Or what message do I got now? Think about, back in the day, especially when I was younger, age myself a little bit, we had answering machines and we had phones at home. We had no cell phones. And so, when you wanted to get a hold of a friend, you left them a message on his home answering machine, and then you waited 8 hours for him to call you back. And maybe you weren't home at the time and he left a message for you. And this is the way it went. You left the house, to go play as a kid. You listened for the whistle from your dad, to get home, or you knew what time it was. I better get home, sun setting. That's how it worked. You didn't have constant contact with everybody. And now it's invasion of really growing as a human being. That's what it has turned into. So you wonder how much different you'd be without that constant, invasion. Yeah.
It makes me think about experiences, in the sense that now it's all this quantity of different sensations, this quantity of different experiences, and people have become addicted to that. They're stimulated and distracted by what you're speaking of, Greg. But what's missing, this is as a whole, overall, is deep quality of experience. The quality of sensation, the quality of the feeling, let alone it being consciously directed, but also consciously felt. You think about even like drinking a glass of water. Most of the time people are so busy, they're fitting it in, they just shove it in their body, right? You just drink it and you don't even pay attention. What if you took a pause and was like, I'm going to have this water, and you actually taste the water. You're consciously now in control and in harmony with that water, rather than just, going on. And the past programs are running, yet people are always future projected by thinking about what's next. So we're always living for the future of what we need to do next, but we're being run by what the past programs told us we should be doing. So we continually create the same things over and over again. And now it's just faster and faster. So taking the pause, slowing down, inquiring about, what's true to you and what we want to experience outside of us, picking and having the discernment, another gift in the Gene Keys, having the discernment to choose what is right to sense and what is not right to sense. And I just wanted to say, it's good to have needs. It's good to have desires. We're not going to stop any of it, because if you're saying I don't have any desires, then that's a desire. I'm desiring no desires. There is always an urge inside for experience. It's just to the matter of, am I doing it in a harmonious way? And am I doing it with a purpose of evolution, or of giving, or of just a new experience of sensing? Or am I just, filling a gap of time, filling a need with some kind of chemical output or egoic experience to make myself feel better about myself? And so we want our goals and our dreams to become more conscious, and our noticing of the moment to become more conscious. And I think, what's your, lastly, I'll just mention what's your guy's name? Not Paul Chek. I think it's the other guy. Maybe it's Paul Chek. Greg, it's Paul Chek. I love one of his talks, and he was, trying to tell people how, it's very difficult to actually be able to live in both the real world and this computer generated fast-paced world that we're in. You basically got to choose one or the other. And if you're going to try to adapt and be in both, which those of us on this show are, I mean, come on, we're not like running away completely in the hillside. Then you have to have a real established routine and practice. And what is it for? What's he saying? For inquiry, to check into your body, to check into yourself, to check into your present moment, to feel what's real for you, and then to be able to control the environment in the sense of not being controlled by it. You don't react when someone makes you upset, right? You're just like, oh, I'm fine anyways. I'm good, which is a hard one for all of us. But those kind of themes. And I think, practice is really key to this, having some kind of routine that you get back inside of yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
JARIN, you'd be hard pressed to find a person who wouldn't benefit from more inquiry into, just their own daily life. When you notice something out of place, that's not harmonious, inquire to what is really going on there. And don't just take the easy answer, or what someone says it is. Like, actually figure it out, find it out. And one more thing I will say about the chart is we had the channel transformation today, the 3254 activated between the root and spleen. So that's a huge one for all this stuff we've been talking about, actually transforming, actually getting with the program. Channel transformation, it's this huge energy. It's a very powerful energy. We got the 54, the marrying maiden, which is has the city of ascension, aspiration and ascension. So wow, that's a pretty powerful energy right there. And then the 32 is called duration. So it's about, what makes something endure, what makes something last. So we've got that energy today.
Well, Richard, before we move on to the definitions we're going to do in the second half here, when it is on a generator like it is today, sacral generator, as a projector, does that give me more energy necessarily? Is that going to help fuel me a little bit just because it's on that? Or is it does it not work that way?
Yeah, Greg. So, you would be partly at least a generator for the day, and, it's not like, but you see, the thing about these transits is it's something that's there, that you can tap into if you choose to, but you don't have to. So it's not like you have to be a generator today, but that opportunity is there. It's there for anyone who wants to do, because everyone changes, everyone goes through different phases in their life. One way of looking at it is that we're all the types. We have the potential to be all the types, to live all the types at different times. So especially for, like, reflectors, they literally become like a different type almost every other day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question, Greg. It makes me think of, it is a conditioning element but there are several conditioning layers to our reality, right? So, but rather than look at it as just something that's conditioning us, it's a rhythm, it's a flow, it's something that when we're in harmony with it, right, we ride the current. So we're going to feel some of these, and it's all going to be relative to what we are. Of course, we all have a collective theme here, but we'll all feel it differently. And then, my answer specifically to being a generator today is like the 32 to 54 channel Richard mentioned. That's today. So we have the root to the spleen defined today, but none of the channels to make us a generator would actually do so today, because they're the unconscious aspects, which isn't to do with today's present environment. So you're actually not, by the way I saw it, I'm looking at a small screen, but we're not actually, quote unquote, being conditioned as generators today. But we are being conditioned from the root to the spleen, for sure.
All right, gotcha. Okay, well let's move on to the definitions. We were doing these the last episode, and it was going really well, but we ran out of time. We went a little overtime actually, and it's a lot of fun listening to these definitions and where a lot of these root things came from. As Richard reads them, they really hit home very fantastically. Let's see here. Let's move this on over. All right, Richard, we left off. Let's see. We did Cosmos.
I think we're down towards the true self. Walking Dead person.
All right.
You went past.
I passed it. Okay, I'm sorry. Walking Dead person, right there. Yep. All right.
So I just find it so funny that this book uses this term. And these, by the way, of course, are from the I Ching, the Oracle of the Cosmic Way, which is where the name cosmic human design comes from. Totally new interpretation of the I Ching. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. The knowledge, the wisdom that's in this book. And here we are going through the different some of the words in the back. It says that are cosmic words versus words created by the collective ego. And we know that language and words are one of the main ways that that actually false consciousness is created. Because otherwise, if not for words, they wouldn't exist. Evil wouldn't exist without words being used wrongly. That's one of the central messages of this entire book. And here we come to the Walking Dead person. This one just cracks me up every time I read it. Because this is literally like what a lot of people in the world are like.
Yep, pretty much.
So let's see, this term refers to a person who has been totally separated from his feeling consciousness, disdaining his feelings and his body. Each person is born with a certain amount of chi, inner light, that invigorates and supports him during his life in a body. Under healthy circumstances, his chi energy is constantly renewed through contact with his feelings of inner truth, which in turn connect him with the cosmic whole. His chi is also replenished by cosmic love, received either directly from the cosmos or through being truly loved by another person. His chi energy is decreased by ignoring and suppressing his true feelings and by rejecting the cosmic gift of love when it comes to him. If neglected long enough, his inner light dwindles to a mere set of coals. Often at this point, he experiences a major life crisis in which he perceives the state of his inner light. If he then further neglects it, the light becomes extinguished and he becomes a walking dead person. The sage calls such a person one without head because he lacks the ability to further connect with the cosmic whole. People may continue in this state for many years, stealing chi energy from other people by creating sympathy and attention. They may also draw chi from objects, especially from crafts and art objects into which the craftsmen and artists have poured their chi. When a person realizes through using the RTCM that he is being drained of chi energy in this way, he needs to inwardly disconnect from and remain neutral in the presence of a walking dead person to prevent giving away his energy. It is also important that he not view that person as a culprit, as that too would give him energy. Because the sage is in the presence of every person, it's helpful to ask the sage to call in the cosmic army to kill the demonic elements that have taken over the other's body and to revive his true self. So a walking dead person. So it says you can become this basically through an exhaustion of your chi energy, your life force, which everyone has set a certain amount of, through primarily neglecting your true feelings, neglecting your true feelings and instead following some programs, following some programming, living a totally mental life, being stuck in your head basically, or like it says, demonizing the gift of love, or ignoring the gift of love and physical intimacy, which is one way in which your chi energy can be replenished. So and it says people can go on many years like this. and stealing, basically stealing chi energy from other people. That's the only way they can, because they don't have any of their own. So that's the only way they can keep existing in the world.
Yeah. So
and don't you guys know so many people like that?
I refer to them as energy vampires, and
yeah,
they certainly are out there. Watch yourself. Pay attention when you're around certain people. Do you feel drained when you're done? Right? No matter what's going on, you just feel drained. You're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I know a few places I go that will do that to me. And I cut down how often I end up going there, just because it's something that I realized that, geez, after about 10, 12, 15 times of doing something, you're like, why am I so damn tired after this? And you realize that it's got to be the chi stealing. It's got to be, you're taking your energy away from you. Whether it's, noticeable or not. Sometimes it's noticeable. Sometimes it's a lot of negativity. Sometimes a lot of complaining. It's a lot of things that are very just like soul, like draining, type of conversations, right? About sickness and about cancer and everything else, right? Or it's not even noticeable. You don't even know it's happening. But you know it afterwards. You're like, whew, I feel so damn tired. JARIN, you know about this a little bit?
Yeah, just a little, in various ways. I was just reading through it again. I found it helpful to read through it again. There's so much great information in this. So much great classic information. And, I'm just looking at the word attention. People seeking sympathy and attention to draw chi from another person, the energy vampires here. And attention is the source of all energy, because where attention goes, energy flows, right? So, sometimes it's needed to work through whatever's going on with that other person, or in the situation that you might have created yourself to be in. Sometimes there's, moments needed, and work, the word transformation, right, needed. And that's when a lot of the other gene keys that we speak of, a lot of the other gifts and cities come in to support. But often, and I would say overwhelmingly, most of the time, nothing is needed. The only thing needed is to be able to say no, discern, move away, not give it, or whatever that is we want to call, energy. And it's a problem. It's a real challenge for light workers too. Light workers in the sense of awake beings on the path of learning, that are so compassionate, yet, for lack of better words, saving others, or sacrificing others. These are shadows in the human design system, right? So, if people want it, or it's by design and it feels right for you and it's pressing, then you work through things, you transform. It's worth the energy. And if it's not, which is most of the time, just move on to something else, then we get to learn to do that. And like Richard stated before, even if we're not even engaging in it, so to speak, through communication or something, we take on programs and the energy unless we say no. So we have to be conscious enough to kind of give shine your light and say, hey, I'm just me. I'm not taking on anything that's around me. I'm good. And oftentimes it's actually getting away from it, because energy does condition, regardless. So it's not to run away from people. I'm not saying that. It's just learning, when is it worth it and when is it not? When is it actually my karmic effect, or when is it me just getting into karma, feeding egos, including my own, draining ourselves of chi, and then having to then recreating it all over again because we didn't do the transformation process to get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's not only, people around you, it's yourself too. You got to watch what you're doing. You're the one draining yourself a lot of times. So your self-talk, your programming, your futuristic thinking about worry and stress, there's a lot that goes into your own chi system.
All those internet videos that people watch.
Yeah, absolutely. TikTok. Yeah, absolutely. My wife gets stuck in the TikTok loop, right? An hour. It'll be in the TikTok loop. 1 minute, 2 minute video after another. One after another. One after another. One after another. He's like, oh my God. Like, I get it. It's entertaining, but how many times before you're hypnotized? And how many hits, how many hits of dopamine do you need? Go ahead, Jarin.
Keyword, you just said it.
Hypnotized.
Hypnotized.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it is.
So you're doing that to yourself, so be wary of that and do practices that build your chi. There's so many different ways of building chi, even barefoot on earth. And then, do some chi exercises, do some Tai Chi, do some meditation, do something that's going to get some energy in the body, do some movement. Great stuff. That's really going to build the chi.
Just real quickly, I will just mention before Richard moves on, besides external ways, which is true, such as, even moving your body or grounding on the earth or putting yourself in a salt bath or, there's a million things out there. Enriching yourself inside, this is the 56 gate that I carry in my conscious earth. And enriching yourself inside by loving yourself and even imagining, since we talked about that earlier, about what feels good, about imagining who you truly are and what you truly wish to experience and accomplish or create as if it's already happening. That fuels your chi, which is why I always recommend a practice for people to go into their dreams inside of themselves, to fuel those dreams internally, because that's what's going to create it externally. So, you can fuel your energy, of course, in a million varieties, but what better than the source of what's inside of you that's already infinite and already pure? But we don't pay attention to it. Our attention is on other things. And so we don't even fuel ourselves the way that we could with the cosmos. Anyways.
And Richard, Joanne here, she wants to know what book this is referring to. And we're talking about the I Ching.
Yeah, it's specifically, Joanne, it's called I Ching, Oracle of the Cosmic Way. It's a new version of the I Ching.
Gotcha. Yeah, good stuff here. All right, let's, what do you think, Richard? Move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. See what's going on here. Although this one's pretty long here. Maybe I'll just kind of summarize this one. Demonic sphere of consciousness. So this is called the demonic sphere of consciousness. Basically, it's talking about our entire reality that we're living in is actually fundamentally demonic. And it's called demonic because it's composed of, it says, imps, demons, and dragons. Now, what the heck are those? And it's so named because it fights the cosmic consciousness. It fights it. So it says the use of false words in describing the cosmic reality leads to mistaken ideas and beliefs about the nature of the cosmos and its ways, about life, about nature, about human nature, including your own nature, and about the place of humans in the cosmos. Because human thinking and imaging have the ability to either express the person's inner truth, which is in harmony with cosmic truth, or to produce fantasies and myths, which happens when the person isolates himself from his feelings of inner truth. Because of this, humans have the ability to create a false consciousness. Wow. The false thoughts and emotions coming from this false consciousness project themselves into reality in the form of projection, spells, and poison arrows. We talked about those the other day. The product of the demonic sphere of consciousness is the parallel reality created by the collective ego, which can be described as the domain of suffering. As a sphere of consciousness, it exists outside of the individual, but seeks to gain access to the individual's psyche through the conditioning process that the collective ego initiates during childhood. Wow, so the collective ego is the source of all individual egos, which in turn are needed to keep it alive. The demonic sphere of consciousness is totally dependent on the life energy it gets from people's true natures via the egos in them. To steal a person's life energy, the collective ego makes the individual believe that he lacks the ability to cope with life, and that the institutions of the collective ego are the source of all his needs. It also makes him believe that he needs to cultivate a kind heart towards others who are in need. The economic cycle of the collective ego, as one might call it, relies on three kinds of demonic elements to form a complete system: imps, demons, and dragons. And those have different functions. Basically the imps, think of how many words that start with the word imp: impulsive, important, improve. There's all kinds of these words that start with the word imp. Those are actually imps. It's talking about imps. They're these little demons that goad you into basically being impulsive. That's crazy. Like, that's what they actually do. These thought forms in your consciousness.
Great examples.
Perpetuate themselves.
Yeah, think about it. Even important, improve. Like you said, those are, a lot of people would view those as positive words. But they're right. I'm improving.
They're traps.
But they're separation. That's yep.
Interesting.
And then we've got the demons, and it says the demons basically appropriate the person's true feelings and put them in the service of the ego, where they become ego emotions. Things like hatred, jealousy, envy, unjustified anger, all these things. This is true for natural anger and desires, which become feelings of self-righteousness and of having rights. So it's saying there that those demons in your psyche, they take natural anger, something you justifiably are angry about, which is a perfectly natural emotion, and turn it into self-righteousness, which is almost is bad, and of having rights over people, rights over things. By putting a person's true feelings in the service of the ego, the cosmic energy that is contained in them is turned into negative energy that the ego uses to control the personality. So they're being controlled by this ego, which is this construct of, imps, demons, and dragons, basically, which are thought forms, false thought forms in the psyche. It says the controlling function is exercised by dragons. The main dragon in a person's psyche is the dragon of guilt. The dragon of guilt. Guilt is an invention of the collective ego to keep the individual permanently under its control, which is why guilt is said to be an inextinguishable stain. Well, if it's inextinguishable, then you can never, ever get rid of it. And, so as long as you believe in it, you're a victim of it. Of feeling guilty, which is, a terrible feeling, as I'm sure almost everyone has felt. But, apparently, there's no real reason to ever feel guilty. There's blame. You can feel cosmic blame, but guilt, something that goes on forever, is an invention of the collective ego.
I would say that guilt is really entwined in a lot of religions as well. It's very, very guilt-ridden. Oh
yeah, and you see there it says guilt is a dragon, and these dragons in the psyche it says they are these control elements. So the dragon is it's like the most fearsome of these three, right? And so it's going to have the most powerful
Impact.
control.
IMP.
And these
Impact.
are in general like back of the mind thoughts, things interwoven into belief systems, religions, which we see they're forming the borders. It's like the dragons guarding the wilderness, they're like guarding the borders of your mind.
Amazing stuff here. I mean, powerful. And you just see how very complicated we make life. And just, I mean, we are layered with, I mean,
Yeah.
you get through one issue and you find 17 others, or, it's like, oh my God, it is just layer after layer. And I look at my dog sleeping on the bed, and gets up and eats and goes outside and barks a few times and comes back in and lays on the bed again. And I'm like, my God, like what a difference between a human being and an animal on this planet. Just the idea of having this consciousness, being able to think, being able to feel, and being able to reason with that and make a decision for ourselves consciously, where maybe a dog is going to make it more out of a habit or a very small thought. We are very complicated, complex, guilt-ridden thinkers, right? And everything's past, future. What is my next decision? Oh, well, it depends on what Betty thinks and what Tom thinks about me over there. This is, again, I say a lot of times the best place to learn about yourself is in nature, and to sit in nature and just learn. You look at a tree and you say, does that tree judge the other tree like we judge each other? I don't think so. So very interesting. But boy, complicated.
Yeah, Greg, and what's the main difference between a human and a dog? It's our ability to use language, and that's what the I Ching here is saying, that that's the cause of all of our problems, is actually this false use of language, where we've created these fantasy words and images because we have the ability to do that. But then once we start believing in them, we get taken down these false life paths. If it weren't for that, we would all be living perfectly in harmony with nature. If it weren't for these mistaken ideas and beliefs that have been created throughout time.
And like you've said before, like spells, they're basically spells that we cast all the time on ourselves and each other. Wow.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, we got a couple more minutes. Do you want to go in the next one, or do you want to go into this the next episode?
Let's see. Well, we can go ahead and do this one, the fate and destiny. This is a good one here. Okay. So fate and destiny, often those words are kind of used interchangeably, but let's see what's going on here. So fate is used to describe the adversities created when a person violates the cosmic harmonics. Fate is an automatic reaction of the cosmos to such violations, whereas the word destiny describes the true purpose of an individual's life in a body, to bring to maturation his true self. So while this is saying your true purpose is to bring to fulfillment your unique true self. That makes cosmic human design pretty big time, when it can tell you about your true self. When he is in harmony with the cosmos, he receives all the help he needs from the invisible world to express his uniqueness and to develop his cosmic gifts, his abilities and talents. Through fulfilling his destiny, he also contributes to the constant evolution of the cosmic consciousness because he realizes the various kinds of consciousness he is born with. Fate is that part of the cosmic harmonics that ensures the continuation of harmony. It also has the purposes to compensate for the damage done to the cosmic whole, to bring the person literally back from his head to his senses, to make him aware of his mistaken ideas and beliefs, and to reduce him to an attitude of openness and humility that will help him shake loose the hold of the ego. And the severity of fate corresponds to the degree needed to wake him up and depends on the degree of his rigidity, the strength of his attachment to his mistaken ideas and beliefs, and to the degree of his arrogance. Fate comes to an end when it has fulfilled its purposes. And, it can be brought to an end by a person reaching a state of burnout, when he of his own accord seeks to, seeks the causes of that fate and removes them, or simply when it's run its full course of time, like a prison sentence, it says. So fate, it's saying that fate is like a reaction, an automatic reaction to when you are believing in mistaken things, when you're going off track, basically, in life. You'll be hit with the fate, it's saying. And that can vary, but it will be, according to, how strongly you, believe in something falsely, how arrogantly you continue on with that.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic there, because there's so much that goes into this one. Because you think about you're going through your daily life, and a lot of times we bring up karma, right? That something happens and it feels like karma happened to that person. If you're looking at it in that point of view, you're a third person, and you're like, well, that person got their karma. It looks like, So, when I think about fate, sometimes I think about you met somebody, right? And a chain of events happened to meet that person, and that felt like fate. But it sounds like this is a little bit more like a destiny if you're going to meet somebody like that. I don't know. What's your terms on that, Richard?
Yeah, well, fate, in the way this book is using it is always a negative thing. So yeah, meeting somebody, who was suited to you, that would be more in the lines of destiny. But most people, a lot of people use the word fate when they are in trouble, when they encounter something negative. They'll be like, oh, why is this my fate? Well, this is saying there's a reason for that. There's a reason for everyone's fate. Not everyone has to have a fate. Everyone has a destiny, but not everyone has to go and confront fate, if that makes sense. Because according to this, fate is something that happens to you when you are out of harmony, when you're not in harmony with the cosmos. And then the purpose of that fate is to basically wake you up to how and why you aren't.
Right. The learning. Yeah. It's, to me, it's, conscious is destiny and unconscious is more fate. I once heard the great Michael Beckwith do a talk on these two, along with luck and all those kind of things, which fit into this as well. But fate being more negative, but it's more of an unconscious thing. It's a karmic effect, not just of your energy output, but as Richard is mentioning, not being your true self or doing things that are in disharmony with the natural laws of the cosmos, which also are explained to me largely in the shadows of the gene keys. Looking at those shadows, operating within those shadows, which is quote unquote a negative thing or an unevolved thing or a parasitic thing or an ego thing. All those kind of things are what gets created back towards us due to the law of karma, of every action creates an equal and opposite reaction. So it's going to come back. But it also can just be more pure, as we mentioned, of not being ourselves, which is what I think this is so great with the cosmic human design and the cosmic golden path. It's not just the higher virtues and how do I live in a higher accord. It's, well, which ones are freaking mine? Which ones which ones am I more concerned with? Or which ones are more important for my destiny to engage, which might bring in shadows and certain elements of fate for learning, but at least it's in alignment with what you're learning. Instead of being all lost in a almost being someone else, or being what the collective ego and systems are trying to force you to be, or to not even just force, but gently persuade you to be, till you become lost and don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic there. And I mean, we could go into deeper things with that. I really want to ask about soulmates to you guys. But I don't know if Cosmic Human Design, it covers soulmates and what that means really, what our definition is compared to that. But that's something we can...
We'll save that for the dating program.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
That we're going to create.
But I like how fate sounds like when you get off track, it's there to get you back on track, which life's got a little bit of a bumper pool, or bumper bowling, right? It keeps you on track, doesn't let you go in the gutter. If you let it.
Well,
if you don't let it.
That's relative.
If you're paying attention. All right, everybody. That was the Cosmic Human Design podcast for tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed it. We are live every other Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. If you want a Cosmic Human Design chart for free, go to cosmichumandesign.com. If you want to work with these two handsome gentlemen on Cosmic Human Design, get a hold of them, and they will certainly work with you guys. And what else we got, Jarin? We got Sunday, if you guys are interested. Me and Jarin also host another show called Rise. Check us out. Check your Rumble listings. Actually, we're over on Rumble, which is different than YouTube, but it's been good to us so far. I'm enjoying it. So, and we're able to say a little bit more than we are on YouTube. They like to censor us.
Yes, we are free flowing now. No limits.
That's true. No limits. That's right. All right,
don't
everybody.
Like limits.
I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next episode. All right. Join the Facebook groups for Cosmic Human Design, so you guys can keep up with what's going on and meet other people that are like-minded, just like you, interested in this stuff. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Cosmic Human Design, and we're out.